Good day, horror fans. Welcome to a brand new episode of The Horror Bin. I'm your host, Julian Fernandez. Here we review, rank, and give you our recommendations for your next horror movie night. With me today, returning guest. You've seen him before, comedian, writer, performs all over Los Angeles. It's Jay Light, back once again.
Crikey, a dingo ate my baby. Thanks for having me back, Julian.
Thanks for being back, and thanks for picking this movie too. This is very excited. This is one that's been requested, one that's been recommended, and a movie that I have not stopped hearing about left and right. And then you brought it up, and I was like, let's do it. So today we're adding Talk to Me 2022 horror film, A24 film. We're adding that to the bin today. Before we get into it, let's check out the trailer.
Have you seen the group chat? You're doing it again tonight. No, please. It's my mom's Remembrance Day. I just want to forget about it.
Oh, I forgot about the
That's
trailer.
great. I like how they make the hand into a 2.
It's real nice.
What happens after 90 seconds?
Don't want to stay. Light the candle to open the door.
Aw.
You can't have a dog watching
My
this.
my favorite character, though.
The smelly dog.
Oh, I love English bulldogs, dude.
Now say, talk to me.
Talk to me.
What did the hand feel like?
Felt amazing. I could see and
Uh-oh.
feel everything on the other side.
You know, it's a good trailer when we haven't interrupted to comment on it at all.
Captivated.
It's captivating.
Still been seeing stuff.
You mean saying stuff?
What if we opened the door but we didn't shut it? Oh my god, they followed us.
I like it.
They're not gonna stop. They're never gonna stop.
I like you.
Oh.
Love it. Woo! Love it, love it, love it.
What a trailer.
So once again, that is Talk to Me, released in 2022, a debut film. Before we get into that, a little bit of the synopsis. When a group of friends discover how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. Yeah, and I like that they used the word hooked, because that is something I did notice, that it did have like very like almost a drug metaphoric
Yes.
kind of vibe.
That was the thing that stood out to me the first time I watched it for sure.
Yeah.
Was this feels very allegorical for drug use.
Yes, especially just having them be like high school kids, and then having the relationship of the younger brother from one of the friends and everything.
Yep.
Like the whole thing, you switch the hand and and seances with heroin or coke or
Yeah.
it's weed. Like I don't know, you smoke weed, kids. It's fine.
Hey, listen.
I should say that.
Mummified hands are a gateway drug,
Mummified
Julian.
hands are a
Okay?
gateway into
They're a gateway to hell.
Yeah, into Satanism.
No, I feel like but I was reading a little bit about some other people's interpretations of it, and obviously the other big interpretation that I keep seeing is about the way that people process grief, which I think is
yeah, there's a
it's
lot
a-
of grief and like a lot of like
Yeah.
grief themes in this. Yeah.
But to me, and I'm speaking as a sober alcoholic, I think that the drug parallels are much more obvious.
Yeah.
And much more in line with what I think makes the most sense as far as interpretations go.
Mhm.
And it's a great one-to-one of like, hey, this is the experience that you have of dealing with your demons, and then you also have literal demons.
Yeah.
Which is it's very fun.
Yeah, it's definitely. I wouldn't say like there were probably the freakiest. And I wouldn't say scariest, but the freakiest part for me was when the younger brother gives it a shot, and then he just starts wailing on his own face.
Oh yeah.
That part was, and him trying to gouge his own eye out.
Mhm.
Like there's a lot I can stomach, but when it's like something like with the eyes or the fingernails or toenails, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's where I'm just like, ugh.
Oh man, dude, that scene.
Feel it.
Both times I've seen this.
Mhm.
That's the one scene that really got me.
Yeah.
Ah.
Because it's not like so much a jump at you kind of scary movie.
Right.
It's a very slow, like creepy, like just making you uncomfortable kind of vibe,
Mhm.
which I'm here for.
Yeah.
But I did come into it thinking like, oh, there's gonna be some moments where I'm gonna jump or I'm like freak out or something. Not so much.
Yeah. There's not really any jump scares. I think the closest you get are at the very beginning where
Oh yeah.
the scene at the first party.
As always, spoiler alert for the movies that we review and talk about. It's just nature of the game.
Right.
Movie's been out. Go see it.
It's been out for a while. Go find it. But the very first scene where you've got the brother
Looking for his brother.
looking for his brother.
Yeah.
You've got the jump scary elements with not somebody attacking you, but like the brother getting stabbed and then stabbing himself in the face.
Oh, like just that 1-2 motion of him stabbing himself was just
So
like,
quick.
Whoa, and then cut. Title card.
Yeah. You get a couple jump scary kind of moments when you see people look at the spirits that they're summoning. Because those things are fucking gnarly.
Yeah, the effects, the practical effects for everything is really impressive, especially knowing that they had to do it during, I think they were filming it during COVID or they were filming it just with COVID precautions.
Yeah.
So they had these people come in, do all this makeup, something that I looked up. They put all this makeup on for like a 10-minute filming, then they quarantined for like 2 weeks afterwards. For a 10-minute job and then for 5 seconds of screen time.
But it looks great.
It looks great.
It looks so great.
All the ghosts in this are really well done. Gotta give a shout out to the directors and writers, Danny and Michael Philip.
I think Philippou. That's how I'm going with it. Also known as Raka Raka.
Yes, they had a YouTube channel called Raka Raka. Australians. This movie takes place in Australia. It's filmed in Australia. Most entirely Australian cast. But both these guys, first time directors, first time writers, and just like looking into like how they wanted to like get the movie made. That they were just like calling studios up, being like, "Hey, we got a movie for you." And like, this is how you do it. I don't know if they hit up other Australian.
They
studios.
probably did. Well, I was looking into, because I hadn't read a whole lot about the actual production process of the movie, and I was looking up some interviews with the brothers. And
who, by the way, seem like the most delightful people.
Oh yeah, well they're like prankster YouTube guys.
Yeah,
that's the craziest thing. This is effectively if like Mr. Beast and his crew decided to make a really fucked up horror movie.
Which why haven't they? At this point?
I think they will.
With how
eventually.
many islands abandoned islands he goes to in YouTube videos. I'm like, how are you not just making?
I would
tons
love
of
to
stuff?
see the Mr. Beast produced horror movie.
Brought to you, and then there's just product placement of his chocolate everywhere.
Yeah. These demons are feasting on my blood, but you can try new Feastables. Sea salt and almond dark chocolate.
The first 10 people to die in this horror film will get a box of Feastables delivered straight to their house.
Man.
$4,500,000 budget estimated.
I mean, that's the thing about, you get people who are scrappy creators, particularly like scrappy YouTubers, I think.
Yeah.
And they know how to stretch a budget.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best part. And I think using practical effects obviously makes budgets go a long way too, which is great.
I'm always here for practical stuff.
I also really think it was one other thing that I had read about in the production of it that I didn't know about, which is that Danny, who's one of the writers, was in a car accident that inspired that was what got him thinking about making this movie and writing this movie.
Really?
And there's a lot of stuff in the thematic world that he was sort of living in while writing this movie and in the sort of aftermath of his car accident, where he was thinking a lot about human touch and human and physical contact with people.
Yeah.
And that is why they ultimately decided to use a hand as the motif, as the thing that the connection to the other side.
Which already, like, it's like, I think minute one, it's already, it's like an iconic thing. And it's like, oh, this is like, you see it, it's distinguishably this movie's thing. Like when you see like certain props, like you see like Jason's mask, Freddy's glove, or even his whole outfit, or Chucky's the good guy dolls, or anything like that. This one, just seeing that hand, which I kind of want one.
I want one of those hands.
I know they sell incense holders, versions of them, but I just want just a regular hand. I'll put whatever in that.
Are you gonna go the right hand version or the left hand version?
Oh, I'd have to get a right. I'm right-handed, so I'd have to get a right hand. So
so you're gonna get the one from the end of the movie.
That's right. That's something I did. I until I might drive over here, I had that thought. That because they do mention in the movie that supposedly there's a second hand out there.
Right.
They just don't know. Nobody knows where it's at.
Which we see where it is,
and we find out.
Yeah. That was the one thing I was like, as soon as the movie was coming to an end, because I had that thought the first time, and I was like, I have to confirm this, and it is because in Australia they have the left hand. And wherever I read it's Greece apparently, but wherever the main character winds up is where the right hand is.
What a way to end it too! Like, it's a full I like that it's a full circle for everything. The fact that she couldn't bring herself to put that kangaroo out of her misery, and then comes towards the end, like she's being told, like he had to put Riley. You have to put Riley out of his misery because he's being tortured and this and that. How it just starts with the position or with the summoning of spirits, and then how it ends with her being the spirit that's summoned. It's well done. It's really well done. I wanted more out of the scares of it all, but I enjoyed it as a film in general. And then like I said, like the background story of it all and how it got made, and they showed this at Sundance, and then A24 comes along and is like, we want it. And it's great.
I think part of too for me what really works about this is the angle. Again, I big shout out to these guys having honed their craft on YouTube for so long. And understanding how to keep that sort of that tension and that propulsive energy that the movie really has. I mean, I was reading, they were talking about, they cut 20 minutes out of this movie in the editing process. So this movie could have easily been almost 2 hours long. This is a clean, like, hour 34.
90 minutes is the perfect threshold.
Perfect. And I never, at either of the times that I watched this movie, I never at any point was wondering, okay, well, this feels like this is dragging. How long is this going to go on for? Like, everything feels like you're captivated every you just can't look away. Especially once you start getting into the possessions. Like when she's hanging out with the boyfriend or the ex-boyfriend or her friend's boyfriend, whatever it is. And she's in bed and everything, and she's just cuddling up, and you just see that ghost in the corner slowly start to get up, and then doing all this sucking on toes. Quentin Tarantino took over for a minute. And then it's her just deep throating whole full foot and mouth. Halfway down. Insane. Every little like her like having just like not knowing what's real and like being basically haunted and everything. Like that was all well done. And like even seeing like
when she thinks her dad is attacking her,
Yeah.
and then you're being cut from her in a room and hearing him pound on the door to him in reality just looking through her bag in the living room,
Right.
and then hearing her freaking out.
Mhm.
You kind of like, oh shit, oh, okay, something's gonna happen, and sure enough, right to the
Scissors
neck.
right in the neck.
Did you ever have any kind of like high school parties where people were like, let's summon demons or anything? I know you're from Texas, but
We never did the summoning demons thing. I mean, we did definitely do like Bloody Mary in like middle
Oh.
school. But no high school parties where people were summoning. We did have parties where people like did a bunch of drugs and thought they were birds in high
oh,
school.
okay, that's close.
Yeah. Close enough for sure.
Again, that's basically kind of like what the themes and the vibe of the whole movie
Oh yeah,
is. You take
this movie brought me back to the days where it's like, oh, somebody's parents are out of town for the weekend. Let's go party at that house.
Let's go summon
Let's go
some
hotbox the
spirits.
wine cellar. Let's go convince the lead of our high school production of Oklahoma that he's a bird after he smokes weed for the first time.
Nice.
Yeah. But that's the kind of thing that, like, if anybody, shockingly for a theater kid, I didn't really have a lot of like spooky friends.
Mm-hmm.
But if I feel like if anybody was inclined, that's the spot where it would have happened.
Yeah, my youngest sister, she ended up being like more the witchy vibes.
Okay.
So, but same thing, like coming through high school, like millennials, we didn't really have we had like more of a goth phase, and
Right.
like I ran into that, but I was never part of it, but I was aware of it. But nobody who was ever like, I do Ouija boards every night, or I do tarots or anything like that. It was just more the
Sure.
aesthetic or the vibe.
I feel like that makes sense. You've got I could see some like offshoot of Dia de los Muertos energy coming off
Off of me.
of you. But that's that we don't have in suburban Texas. It's all like you
Yeah.
can't even read Harry Potter. All right, you can't do that. That's
Oh.
the devil.
Yeah, I
Even
remember
though I
that.
did read all of Harry Potter.
Yeah. Eventually, my mom used to be like, you can't watch Simpsons. It's evil.
Oh, my parents said I couldn't watch The Simpsons
Yeah.
either. I've still never seen. I've seen maybe in total of my entire life 5 episodes of The Simpsons.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch now. Like, it was just like after like a while, I was just like, all right, whatever. She just kind of just gave up and was just like, it's fine. You guys are gonna be okay.
I remember there was one time when we were on vacation somewhere, and I turned the TV on. I was maybe like 8 or 9.
Mhm.
I turned the TV on, and The Simpsons was just on the television, and my mom got furious and turned the TV off.
Wow.
Like, you can't watch that. You can't watch that. That's filth.
Filth. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Was it all from religious? Come from religious.
Oh
places?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Same.
That's the
Same,
thing.
same.
I feel like this movie would absolutely freak my parents out.
Oh yeah.
But I also feel like there's a part of me that thinks maybe they would enjoy this movie,
Mm-hmm.
because compared to other horror movies, this has, first of all, the A24 prestige,
Yes.
which A24, for the most part, has done horror movies in a way where it's art house horror, right? So it's
Yeah.
stuff where it's not just, hey, we're having these slashers. Like they have this new, have you seen the trailer for the new slasher movie that they have that they're releasing in a
Oh.
violent nature?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like more, and it seems like a more extreme, like Friday the 13th vibe.
Right, and
I
it's
like
all from the perspective of the killer.
Oh.
That's the main hype of it. Is that it's all basically close from the killer's POV the whole time.
Nice.
Definitely
putting that on the list.
And that's the thing, like everything I've read about that movie, reviews wise, is it's extremely violent. It's got some of the most violent kills that people have seen in horror movies ever.
Yeah.
I read a Letterboxd review that says, "Hey, have you ever wanted to see a human body turned into an ampersand? Then this is the movie for you." And I don't even know what that means, but I want to see it now because of that.
Well, it's that symbol for an and.
Oh yeah, but I don't know how do we get to a person being turned into that shape?
I can think of a few ways.
Well, I can't, and I won't until I go watch In a Violent Nature.
Yeah.
But I think because they have this like level of, hey, we're not going to do horror movies that are just what I think the general public thinks of as a horror movie, which is a slasher movie.
Yeah.
Occasionally you might think of a possession or a sort of a ghosty kind of a movie, but this has a level of like there's actual emotional heft in this movie.
Yes.
There's familial drama at play. There's real world issues with things like addiction and grief. Like there's something there to latch on to, even if you're not a horror fan, but you are a fan of good storytelling and good narrative, good narrative work.
Yeah, I mean, I have a list pulled up here for some of A24's. I got Talk to Me as one of their top ones. Men, I wasn't really a big fan of. X, that entire trilogy is. I obviously Maxine hasn't come out yet, but that's gonna definitely.
Yeah,
I think the other two are knockouts, so I feel like that one's gonna be good. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
I liked Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Not a horror movie.
Not entirely. A bit more of a thriller.
It's
but you
a
got
thriller.
Green Room.
Oh, Green Room's great.
Oh,
I mean, I love Hereditary.
Hereditary is great.
An all-time great.
Tusk. Kind of a goofier one, but
still, it
Midsommar.
counts. Midsommar, yeah.
Yeah, they got some good ones. Yeah, you can't you put A24 and Neon too. I'd put that.
Yeah, Neon's doing a good job with releasing. They're doing a solid.
Yeah, they
some
did.
solid work.
I think the last one they did was Immaculate, and that one was great. I put that as like.
I still haven't seen Immaculate.
I put that as when we did it for the podcast. Me and Kelly were talking about that right now being our top contender for 2024.
Interesting. I have to check that
just
out.
really good. If you have a choice between when it comes to your pregnant nun movies, go with Immaculate. Do
Instead of
not
the first
see the first
Omen?
film. The first one's garbage. I hated it
okay,
so much.
interesting.
It's so slow.
I mean, I'm a fan of.
That's a movie where you feel the 2 hours.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
That's the worst. Yeah, I'm a fan of Sydney Sweeney already. I'm a fan of Michael Mohan, the director.
Mhm.
Full disclosure, I've worked with him on a thing before years
Oh.
ago. So I got a little bit of bias, but also, I love a good horror movie, and I love it. Something where you feel the way that people have talked about Immaculate. I love that. I love that feeling. I love when a movie makes you feel that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then this one, like with Talk to Me as well, like that, like just the metaphors, the analogies of like what's underneath the this is just them summoning spirits and ghosts or dealing with that. Like you said, like it's an elevated level of storytelling in horror where it's not just it isn't just like boom scare, boom scare, boom scare, and then, this is how you explain the monster. It's a lot more to it, a lot more weight to it as well.
There's a lot of one of the things that you got me thinking about was my favorite scene, which is tough. It was a real tough call.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna plant my flag that my favorite scene, because I do think it really gets to the actual like feelings evoked by this movie are really at play in the very first scene where Sophie uses the hand for the first time at the party. Because
is it Sophie?
Is that the actress's name or the character's name? I think her name is. Is it Sophie in the movie? I think it's Sophie. I think the actress. Name might be Sophia.
No, you're right. Sophie's
Mia. Excuse me. Yes,
the
actress
character's
name
Mia,
is
but
Sophie.
Sophie is.
Yeah,
you weren't wrong.
I was close. I was a little bit wrong.
You're a little bit wrong, but at the same time, you were also not wrong.
So Mia uses, she grabs, it's a foot, right? She grabs the foot for the first, I'm just joking. I was getting other limbs wrong.
That's for the spinoff.
So I think that scene, particularly because you don't really know you've already seen the aftermath of somebody dealing with getting possessed, right? At the very beginning of the movie.
But you don't really know that's
you don't
the
know what
reason.
it is.
Yeah.
Then you start to get to this point where it's like, all right, we're see Mia grieving. We've built up that she's got this sort of relationship with her friend's family, with Riley, and I forget her other friend's name.
I think it's Jamie or
Riley and Jamie. Yeah, Jade. Riley and Jade.
Yeah.
So Riley and Jade's family, she's sort of, like they're her surrogate family because she has a weird relationship with her dad. And she's this sort of like lost grieving soul. And then she gets to the party and there's an immediate a level of tension already just because everybody's like, what's this fucking weird girl doing here? Why you invited her to the party? And there's this Haley, one of the best characters in the whole movie.
Oh my God, so good.
Haley's great, and I think
what's the actor's name? Zoe Tarakis.
Yeah, I think their performance is it's a great performance of like somebody who is clearly popular, but like they've got something.
They're
wrong.
popular, but they don't care.
They don't give a shit.
That makes them even more cool.
But whenever Mia uses the hand for the first time, and it starts out fun, and everybody's filming it, and everybody's like, "Wow, look at how silly she's being," and then it takes the turn whenever the real goopy lady possesses Mia.
Mm-hmm.
And her eyes get huge and she starts screaming run at Riley.
Mm-hmm.
That scene, to me, I was like, this, because it's not stopping.
No.
It's so sustained and you really have no idea what's going to happen next.
And I guess that was the first possession thing they filmed because
really?
they were saying that moving forward for Sophie, the actress, had set the tone for what it's going to be like for when they're possessed.
Oh,
And
interesting.
the Philippos kind of gave them free range to improv and ad lib and everything.
Nice.
So that was just like a lot of it was just all her.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
mean, that very beginning, I mean, you know, Mia being possessed and staying in it too long is the catalyst for the entire rest of the movie.
Yeah.
But I do think that seeing that first possession really, it sets you up to, you're in the heads of all of the teens who are thinking that this is a good idea and a fun idea, but you also are feeling, as an audience member, I walked away from that scene both times feeling just like, this is a problem. There is something deeply wrong that is going to keep happening every time.
Yeah.
And they keep the Philippos keep lulling you into this false sense of security.
Yeah.
In the second possession scene, where everybody's having a good time.
It's the whole montage.
Yeah, everybody's dancing around. They got this fun music playing.
The boyfriend made out with the dog.
Yep. But then tragedy strikes. As it does.
You let the friend's kid brother take one hit of hell.
He took one hit of hell. He toked on that hell weed too long.
And he had a bad trip for sure. Yeah, that, like I said, that whole scene, him trying to gouge his own eye out, him banging his head on everything.
Oh yeah. Even later on in the hospital where he's smashing his head against the ceramic tile.
That one I could stomach way more than I could stomach bashing the back of your head. When you're bashing the front on the end of a table.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Big shout out, by the way, to that actor, Joe Bird.
Joe Bird.
Incredible performances from the kids in this movie.
Yeah, everybody's great.
All the young actors in this movie did so great, and I think that this is I think maybe an Australian thing, but like Australia is a fucking haunted country, man, and this is like I think something about
They have literal monsters as their wildlife.
every movie that I've seen. The only Australian horror movies I've seen are this and The Babadook, and
ooh, yeah,
both of those movies are terrifying.
yeah.
And I think that there's something wrong with Australia that has led everybody there to just be able to lock into, oh, you need me to be spooked out by a guy who lives in my basement who's like trying to murder me based off a book? Great. Count me in. Ah! 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 I think it's like that kind of shit that happens in Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, you need me to pretend there's a ghost inside of me that's going to make me split my fucking head open on the record cabinet? Count me in. I got to skip school for this.
And then
I'm 11 years old.
I'm 11 years old.
I'm 11 years old. I didn't even know maths. I haven't even learned algebra.
One of my favorite things, in which the most Australian part of the whole movie is like when the boyfriend gets possessed and he's like telling his girlfriend like he's disgusted when you touch him, and then what's her name, Haley, is just like, oh, this ghost is a cunt.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop laughing. It's like that's so Australian.
It's very Australian. I mean, I thought the most Australian part of the movie was when they had a kangaroo show up in the first like 20 minutes. Of the
Oh,
movie,
yeah,
and they're
that
you gotta
part
run
too.
over the kangaroo. You got to put a man of his misery.
Oh man.
Big fucking kangaroo. I am glad that they didn't kill the kangaroo.
Yeah. Unlike
Save the cat, save the kangaroo.
yeah, we watched. I had Steve Hernandez on. We did The Invitation. And there's
I've never seen that.
There's a similar part where they're driving up the Hollywood Hills, and there's I want to say a coyote or a deer. I think a coyote. Or it's an animal. But same thing, like injured on the road. Like they're just like, we gotta put it out of its misery, and he does.
Yeah.
But again, like it just kind of comes full circle towards the end where she's just like, well, I gotta put Riley out of his misery.
Especially, I mean, you even get the ghost having the wherewithal to make an imaginary bloody kangaroo hop down the hallway of the
Yeah.
hospital.
Ugh. Oh, and here's something. Just before we start wrapping up, the end. Do you think she jumped or was she pushed?
I mean, that's a tough question.
Because it never really shows.
It doesn't.
Even when you slow it down, it's so hard to see.
Mm-hmm. I watched, so like I said, this is my second time watching this movie, and I feel like there are two things that sort of became more clear this watch. One was that the mom who Mia thought she was talking to was not actually the mom.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
could tell in the makeup that there's deliberately, it's still the goopy lady.
Still like waterlogged and everything.
Still waterlogged. Still, you can see on the makeup sheet, there's a little bit of extra like sheen
Mhm.
that's different from when Riley sees her.
Yeah.
Everything's a little bit more like puffy. Things are. It looks waterlogged. It looks like
Yeah.
I'm sorry to this woman. I only keep describing as the goopy lady, but she looks like the fucking
Goopy
lady.
waterlogged. I don't think anybody who who looks like that is gonna be.
No, that's kind of what I think the Philippines were hoping that we were going to call her, is the goopy lady.
Yeah.
But that
Let's
and
see.
then
Yep. Credited as Goop.
yeah,
Not even lady.
yeah. Gwyneth Paltrow's getting residuals on this movie.
Brought to you by Gwyneth Paltrow.
I think she was pushed. I think
Mhm.
that Jade sees what's about to happen
And reactionary.
and reaction to save her brother.
yeah.
Because I don't think and here's the other thing though, and I'll posit this.
Mhm.
There's a lot of motifs, obviously, of hands and of hands sort of coming over, especially the times where we see Mia overtly like in possession mode,
Yeah.
where we see hands sort of creep over the shoulders. And you could say it's not necessarily her jumping of her own will, but she could have been pushed by the ghost. She could have been pushed by the spirits.
Yeah.
But I feel like the more likely answer is she was pushed by Jade.
Yeah. I would say more Jade.
Yeah.
I mean, again, either way, like that, it's especially getting the perspective from inside the car that gets hit by her, or that hits her. She doesn't hit the car.
Well, she does kind of hit the car.
She hits the car, but I mean, I think in gravitational terms, the car hit her.
Well,
pretty hard.
We didn't see she hits the car, but then she's got a lot of problems at that point.
Yeah, true.
She's
true,
all
true.
fucked up.
She's got a lot of things going on.
Yeah. She's in the hospital. Nobody even sees her anymore. That's the biggest problem.
The way they shot that was really well done. Her going through the hospital and slowly having realization like, oh shit, I'm also dead.
Mhm.
And the lights turning off, and then like kind of like her dad going in the elevator. You don't really know. We don't know if her dad died or if he was in the hospital or anything.
I feel like her dad made it out.
Yeah.
I feel like her dad, because he was clinging on. He was holding on at the house.
Right.
I feel like my instinct is that he made it out of there, and he was just trying. He didn't even. He'd completely turned his back because he's fucking devastated.
Yeah.
He lost his wife to suicide, and his daughter tried to murder him, and then
Tried to murder a kid.
and then got hit by a car and died.
Yeah. He's not having a good year.
Yeah. He's having a tough time. And he's like, what's with this fucking hand that's in my house now?
Yeah. And that might lead to, because again, it does lead to her being the spirit that gets summoned, which, no surprise at all, they are making a sequel.
Talk to me.
With again the
One
hand,
of the greatest sequel titles of all time.
with the hand as a
shape
two.
of the two.
I can't have to do it backwards.
We need
yeah.
to get the villain of in a violent nature to get in here so we can turn our hands into twos.
But Jay, we're wrapping up here on the scary scale, 1 to 10, 1 being Hotel Transylvania, 10 being the most terrifying thing in the world. Where are you putting this movie at?
I will say this. I absolutely love this movie. From a regular like movie rating scale, I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. From a scariness scale, I will say it's definitely not the scariest movie I've ever seen.
I agree.
But I do think that it is extremely tense. It's extremely well crafted, and the level of dread and terror that I feel is on par with some of the really best like jump scary crazy horror movies. So I'm gonna give this a solid 8.
Really?
On a scary scale. Yeah.
Wow. I was gonna say 6.5.
Wow.
I think we'll average it out to 7.
There we go.
And then you're saying movie wise 1 to 10, you'd say 4.5.
Oh no, that's 4 to 5. I'm giving this out of a 10. I'm giving it a 9.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. And definitely for the bin, one of the more newer ones that we have, but I'm putting it at the top.
This is going near the top of the bin.
This is a go-to. What kind of night you're settling? You're planning a scary movie night. What kind of night is perfect for this movie?
I think this is the kind of like if you want to watch. This is honestly, it's a great gateway horror movie.
Yeah.
If you want to see people who are not super usually horror fans.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the kind of people who I saw it with. I saw it with a bunch of people who are not horror movie fans, and they loved this movie. So I think this is the kind of movie where, like, if you're trying to get people on board with things, especially if you're doing like a marathon, get this one early. Get this one to keep people interested in the idea of sticking with horror movies. Because I think this really shows, like I said, A24 has found a way to create art house horror in a way where it's not just like, oh, we're doing some weird German import.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is something that is approachable and not so blood, guts, whatever, the kinds of things that make people squeamish
Right.
when they think about a horror movie. This is the kind of movie that I think will allow people to go, oh, this is what a horror movie could be.
Mm-hmm.
Let's watch more of this.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and top of the bin, there's a go-to, like you said, like a no-brainer. It's a good gateway horror movie. So this one's join the ranks with Scream, Evil Dead as well. This is a good go-to.
It's a
movie.
classic. It's
Yeah.
like when I watched it, I was like, this feels instant classic to me.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But Jay, thank you for adding this to the bin. This is a great movie. I enjoyed it.
So happy.
Not as scary as I would like it to be, but still great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Highly can't recommend it more. But before we head out of here, you got your camera right here. Let the people know where they can find you, what you got going on.
You can find me at Diet J on social media, and you can also check out my live game show at Wrong Game Show. We're monthly at the Comedy Store. We're coming to a city near you. We're posting clips. We got full episodes on YouTube, so go check us out at Wrong Game Show wherever you do social media things.
Nice. And yeah, if you are in Edinburgh,
Yes,
in
Edinburgh
August,
Fringe.
This will be out long before August. But if you're in Edinburgh, if you live out there, check out the Wrong Show. It's a lot of fun. Gotta get back on to do it because it's so much fun.
Yeah, it's a great time, and we'll be in Edinburgh for the August 1st through 11th at Edinburgh Fringe, and we've got some other dates coming up soon.
Nice.
Keep your eyes peeled.
And then you guys can find me on all the things Julian F. Comedy, all my show dates and tour dates on my website, julianfcomedy.com. You can follow this podcast at Horror Bin Pod. Make sure to talk to us on all our social media. Let us know what you thought about the movie. Let us know what movies you want us to add to the bin. And, just say hi. Let us know how we're doing. Let's build this horror community one spirit at a time. But, Jay, once again, thank you so much for being on again.
Happy to be back, Jules.
Thank you for adding this. As always, we're going to have you on again
I'm
for
excited.
sure.
I can't wait.
And like we say on every episode, I let you in. Bye.
Ah!